Hello watch fans, this is Anders here on Time and Crown channel. Today the yearly state of the collection video. Right now you're looking at an enormous catalog, and that's just because the watch collection is underneath the catalog and I don't want to show you all the watches right away. So one of my biggest goals for 2024 was to do a lot of changes in my collection. Mostly I wanted to slim down the collection. My goal is to maybe hit 9 or 10 watches in total and then have higher quality of watches instead of having 20 or 30 watches. So as I said, a lot happened in 2024 and this is one of the things that happened during 2024. This is the new 2024 Certina DS Super PH 1000 meter dive watch. This is one of 3 different versions. You can get a orange, a black, and then this turquoise style. And I must say, when I first saw this watch, I was quite amazed with the specifications. A Swiss-made 1000 meter water resistant automatic dive watch from a really nice brand at around $1,000 US, $1,200 US, 1,000 euros. So I found a really nice deal in Spain, an online store in Spain, and they quickly sent out the watch, and I must say I'm very happy with this watch. This watch, as well as all the other watches in my collection, I have done full reviews of. I'm leaving the links towards the reviews of all the watches down in the description. So this, I think, is a really cool watch inspired by a 60s and 70s dive watch from Certina. Actually, the predecessor to this watch was actually used by the Australian Navy. It is 1000 meters water resistant. It is a big watch, but it has a cushion shaped case, so it measures 43.4 millimeters in diameter, but it wears much more like a 42 millimeter. Some really nice features like a helium escape valve here and a really interesting bezel system. So you can't turn the bezel. This is for security when you just try to turn it. When you want to rotate the bezel, you have to push down. And I must say the bezel action on this Certina is just amazing. Feels really good. And on my wrist it wears really nicely. I have a 17 centimeter wrist circumference. Comes with a nice FKM rubber strap, vulcanized rubber. Looks and feels amazing. A real beast of a dive watch at this price, and definitely a watch that I'm going to keep in my collection because it's such a special and different watch, and I really do like the heritage and history of this watch. And moving on to the newest watch in my collection, this is the brand new Frederique Constant Classic Moonphase date. This is a 2024 model, late 2024, released in October. And when I first saw this watch, I was amazed by the sheer quality you get at a lower price than a lot of other luxury brands. So if this was Omega or another brand, it would probably be $2,000 or $3,000 more. This is a Frederique Constant, and it's kind of a mid-tier luxury watch company from Switzerland. What is special about this watch is definitely the overall design and look and feel. This beautiful dark blue sunburst dial, beautiful polished case, and the manufacturer movement. This is the FC716, and this is a remake of a previous movement, so they enhanced the movement to become better, which actually gives you 72 hours of power reserve. So of course you get a Moonphase complication and you get a date complication, and then everything else is very classic. At 39.8 millimeters in diameter, I think it wears really nicely. It is kind of a beefed up dress watch. It is a little bit thicker. It does have a lot of wrist presence in my opinion, and I feel that this is the Moonphase watch, the classic looking dress style watch in my collection. I'm not a dress watch guy, tried a lot of different watches, but this I feel is staying in my collection. I bought it brand new. They are around 3,500 euros, 3,700 euros if you find a nice deal. And let me just place all the watches I talked about here on the screen so you can keep looking at them. Now the next watch in my collection is also a new watch from this year. This is my very first Zenith. This is the Zenith El Primero, original 1969. So this is a remake of the original Zenith El Primero sports chronograph watch released in 1969 in 38mm in diameter. Also, the number of movement parts in the beautiful El Primero movement, it is actually the same number that they used to have in the original El Primero movements. I always wanted a Zenith and I always wanted an El Primero, so I traded in some watches. And let me just mention some of the watches that left my collection this year. The Piaget Polo S, the Rolex Datejust 41, the Rolex Air King. So a lot of stuff has happened during this year. I wanted to slim down my collection. I wanted to actually have less capital bound in my watch collection. Hopefully I will be able to have enough money to reach one of my biggest watch goals of 2024, maybe in 3 or 4 or 5 months. So this is the beautiful remake you see. Really happy to have this legendary movement in my collection. And I really do like the size of 38mm as well as the sporty look. This is actually a chronograph, sports chronograph watch with 100 meters of water resistance. And you do get a high beat movement of 36,000 vibrations per hour. Also to have a really nice historic chronograph watch in my collection because I sold the Omega Speedmaster Professional. I'm leaning towards getting smaller size watches, and I felt that the Speedmaster, it was simply too big. Although the Speedmaster wears really nicely for its 42mm size, it became a little too big for me, I think. Probably, maybe I will get a Speedmaster first Omega in space, maybe in 39 or 40mm. So I really do enjoy this Zenith Addressy sporty chronograph, but it does have sports capabilities, sapphire crystal, lume, 100 meters of water resistance. So a lot of firsts for me in my collection this year. It is my first Zenith, it's my first Frederique Constant, and it is my very first Panerai. So this is the Luminor Marina 00070. This is a 2000 model, 2001 model. It is different because it's only 40mm in diameter and I wanted a smaller size Panerai. I know this is probably sacrilege to some people, but as I said before, I'm leaning towards smaller watches these days. Got this pre-owned, of course, as a trade-in between one of the Rolexes and some other watches. Actually, on the same day, I bought the Panerai and the Zenith from the same grey market dealer I'm usually dealing with. So it was a really big day to come home with these two legendary watches at once. It has the blue sunburst dial and I really do like the simple dial layout. The typical Panerai crown system. Sealed case back. I got it on a very cheap eBay found Chinese rubber strap, but it wears really nicely. This is definitely not an office watch for me, but during the spring and summer wearing this with a t-shirt, a white shirt or white polo shirt, it is the perfect combination for me with the sunburst blue dial. I really enjoy my first encounter with Panerai, and maybe I should get not a Panerai at some point, maybe a Radiomir, but again, I'm trying to slim down my collection. Now, only 2 other watches in the rest of my collection are new, and a lot of these other watches I have had in my collection for a long time, so I'm not kind of a crazy flipper type. This is, of course, my Omega Seamaster Diver 300M. I have owned this watch for 4 or 5 years now. I bought it brand new during COVID at a local dealer here in Copenhagen, an authorized dealer of Omega, and I got a really nice discount back then. I opted for the gray dial with the ceramic bezel insert, and this is definitely one of the best dive watches I have ever owned. I do feel that for a high quality Swiss luxury dive watch with all the modern necessities like ceramic bezel insert, ceramic dial, great lume, helium escape valve, very accurate master chronometer Omega movement, this is a great choice. But I am actually considering letting this one go now. As I said, I am leaning towards smaller watches. This wears big on my wrist. Maybe I will get another Seamaster. Maybe I will get one of the newer Seamasters. Maybe the summer blue, or maybe just a blue version. I'm still considering. Nothing wrong with this watch. It is top of its game, top of class, if you want a luxury Swiss dive watch. But 42mm and almost 50mm lock tip to lock tip, it is a little big. But as a summer watch, it's perfect. As an all-year watch, for me, it isn't. And now the very first Swiss luxury watch I ever bought, actually the second, because this is the 41mm version of the Seamaster. I actually first bought a 36mm, but it was way too small, so I sold it and bought this afterwards. This is a true legend in my opinion, and one of the best examples of a 90s watch that actually now is coming back into fashion. During the 2000s, it was kind of out of fashion. Now these Omega Seamasters, they are getting back into fashion because people are understanding how great these watches are, and also because the 1990s fashion style, fashion trends, they are getting popular now. This is a perfect example of a slim, everyday office diver, but also a professional dive watch with loom, 300 meters of water resistance, all the stuff you want. But also a watch that is very slim and can easily be worn as your everyday watch. It can easily slip under a shirt cuff. This bracelet is top quality and the clasp is top quality. And for these 1990s and early 2000s Omega Seamasters, I think the bracelet is perfect. For the newer Seamasters, I really do not like the bracelet design. But this bracelet is so comfortable, it's so sturdy, just feels great on the wrist, and yeah, it's just a great looking watch. Enjoy this watch a lot. This is of course never ever leaving my collection. And of course it is a tradition. Every year I say now it's time for a service. I am actually going to deliver this watch in for service at a watchmaker in 2025 because it simply needs a service, and I'm going to wear it much more when it becomes more accurate and just get a little bit shined up. Now a watch that I am kind of debating keeping or selling, but I decided to keep it, and I was wearing this watch a lot this month. And this is my Grand Seiko SPGA Snowflake. So a spring drive titanium watch, and I'm really battling with the strap choice for this watch because I'm not a huge fan of the bracelet. I don't really like the clasp and I don't like the bracelet style. I think the watch becomes a little too big on the bracelet, also because it is a 41mm watch. I wish they made it a 39 or 40mm. And I found the perfect strap just in a pile of straps I had laying around. I used to review a lot of Vario straps and watches. They sent me this strap back in the days. I never got to review it. But now it came into use, and I must say this Italian leather strap from Vario, it is the perfect fit for my Snowflake in my opinion. I think it really fits with the darker gray color, this kind of textured darker gray. It is just really befitting, and this is a really great everyday watch. You have nice water resistance, 100 meters. You have 3 days of power reserve, a really nice spring drive movement here. Because it is so light, because it's titanium, and because you have a white dial, it is the perfect everyday, also office watch. And on a leather strap, I found the right combination with this leather strap. I tried blue leather straps, white rubber straps, a lot of different strap options. I never really got comfortable with any of them. Also, the bracelet wasn't comfortable for me, but this really brought the watch back to life, and that is just something to remember. Collecting watches, one strap can give you a new feeling, new love for a watch in your collection that you maybe became a little bit bored with, a little bit tired with. Grand Seiko in my collection. Now moving on to another mainstay of my collection. This is my Tag Heuer Aquaracer. I bought this in 2015, brand new, and it's been with me on a lot of travels. This is my go-to travel watch. The rubber strap, original rubber strap, is really good, but I opted to put it on this amazing Artem Hydroflex rubber strap in gray, and I think it's a really nice fit. Actually, I am starting next year actually selling Artem straps here within the EU, so you don't have to pay taxes and customs. More about this later. I'm setting up my web shop, becoming a dealer of Artem straps and a lot of other cool watch products. If you're interested, just drop me an email or write down in the comments. I will keep you informed. So this is a 41mm Tag Heuer Aquaracer. I believe it's the ETA 2824 or the Zenith SW200 movement inside. This watch is almost 10 years old now. I have really taken this watch around the world. A lot of beatings, a lot of diving, a lot of going into the desert and stuff like that, and it just keeps ticking and ticking and ticking. This is also a very 90s, early 2000 design. Maybe it will become a little bit back in fashion. It does look a little bit dated in my opinion, but nonetheless a watch that I have a lot of feelings for. That is why, of course, it's staying in my collection. The second Tag Heuer in my collection is also a watch that has been with me for many years. This is, of course, my Tag Heuer Monaco. This is maybe one of the most iconic and legendary watch designs ever made, in my opinion. Just think about a company making a big square chronograph watch. That is so strange. It's so weird. Nobody were making square watches. Is what it was. Maybe rectangular watches like the Reverso, but this is just an icon. This is the remake from 2009 with the sunburst dial. The later versions, it has a more matte light blue dial. I do like the sunburst dial. It really gives it a flashy or more sporty look. I got it on a leather strap. I tried it on a rubber strap. Actually, a rubber strap from Montreux straps. I reviewed these straps as well, and it was really nice for this watch, but I must say it's mostly a dress watch for me, an office watch, and I enjoy this watch a lot. 39mm in diameter. Sports chronograph. This is also heavily in the need of a service. Got the original buckle. It's not an original Tag Heuer strap, but it came with the watch when I bought it. Such an iconic watch, and I really do enjoy having this kind of weird and yet iconic watch in my collection. And you may actually now get a little bit of a sense that I'm trying to have a diverse collection, not just having 25 Seiko divers or 5 or 6 or 7 Rolex watches all looking the same. I want different styles, different brands, different uses for the watches, just to have a very diverse, fun collection that I'm actually going to use. Now the last 3 watches of my collection, and 2 of those are newer, and the last one is one of my oldest watches in my collection. So this is, of course, the Rolex Explorer II 16507. This is the polar version of the older 40mm version Explorer II watches. I always wanted this watch. I wanted the polar version, not the black version. I found a great deal, actually, also as a trade with the same guys that I bought these 2 watches from. They also sold and traded some of the Rolex watches, the Piaget and the Omega. And I made a few deals with those guys. Great guys to deal with here in Denmark. Chrono.dk if you're interested. I have no affiliation, just a recommendation. So this is a really nice example from 1999. You still have lock holes, as it only says Swiss. It's not Super Luminova, it's just Luminova. And I really enjoy this watch. This is a really cool weekend watch. It is tough and it's different, and it's definitely one of the Rolex watches that a lot of people, they really kind of don't like. It was never very popular. And nowadays you can't get the 40mm version. It's only these big, bulky 42mm versions. And I feel they are becoming way too big. This is from back when Rolex was really nice wearable watches, in my opinion. Just looks perfect on my 17cm wrist circumference. I enjoy this watch a lot. I have tried this watch on a white rubber strap, also from Montreux. It looks great, but it is a bracelet watch in my opinion. Very accurate, really nice to wear, and it goes extremely well with a shirt also. And although this is a tool watch actually made for exploring caves, I feel that this watch is also kind of a everyday, almost also kind of a Rolex office watch because of the white dial. I think the white dial just makes it a little more dressy, and this example is in pristine condition for a watch that is 25 years old now. I think, yeah, it just is a testament to the quality that Rolex used to make watches in, that 25 years down the line, this watch is really accurate, just looks great. Only a few scratches to the bezel here. Now another watch I wanted for many years. I was actually trading one of the other watches I mentioned into this watch, and this is of course the Rolex Explorer I. So this is the Mark II in 39mm. This is the discontinued one, but with the long hands and the loomed hour markings here, 3, 6 and 9. And I must say the perfect size for a Rolex watch in my opinion, at least with the sports watches, is 39 or 40mm. I made a video about this watch, just talking about the 36, the 39 and now the 40mm version. I definitely think that making this watch in 40mm, it's the wrong choice. I know Rolex are beefing up watches, but nowadays I think they are just beefing up their watches too much. And having this watch as a discontinued watch, 39mm, is just a perfect sized Rolex watch. Super accurate, great loom, super classy and super classic. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not a big guy on dress watches. This is, besides the Frederique Constant, probably some of the closest I get to what is almost a dress watch. This is of course a sports watch, an explorer's watch, but it goes very easily as a dress watch in my opinion, because of the size, because of the classic design without a date complication. It fits under a shirt cuff. Just a really beautiful watch. I'm so happy to finally own the Explorer I and the Explorer II. So kind of, and I said this in previous videos during the years, I do like the kind of quirky, different Rolex references, not just going with the typical Rolex references, the typical Rolex watches. So you can see here almost the same size, and that is of course because you get a lot of more dial with the Explorer I, because it doesn't have this big thick bezel. Really cool pair, black and white, and with the GMT function here. Also get the GMT function. But of course, and if you follow my channel, you know what the last watch is, because this is my dear old Rolex GMT Master 16700, the Pepsi. I actually bought an original Jubilee bracelet for this watch. I also got the Oyster bracelet, but I really wanted the vintage look, and on the Jubilee I really get the vintage look and feel. So the funny thing is, I can actually take the end links and I can take the Jubilee bracelet and I can put it on the Explorer II. So if I want a more vintage looking or more dressy look on the Explorer II, I can actually put this bracelet on, and that is pretty cool to have a bracelet that I can change between my different Rolex watches. So I was up to 4 Rolex watches at one point, now I'm down to 3, and I don't really think that you can have a historic watch collection without a Rolex watch, but you can definitely have a watch collection with too many Rolex watches. That said, I am getting kind of warmed up to one of the quirky, not very popular Rolex watches that I'm going to mention just in a few minutes, ending of this video with my watch collection goals for 2025 and 2026. Beautiful watch. Again, this is from when Rolex they made these extremely wearable watches. This is very accurate. It is 1 or 2 seconds plus per day. It is approximately 5 years since I got it serviced. This is a 1991 watch, so it's practically a vintage watch. Tritium loom. Everything just functions. It looks great. It feels great. And this is definitely a watch that is never leaving my collection. I have been asked quite a few times, do you want to sell? My answer every time is no. Definitely a big no. Just like the Seamaster down here, which was my first Swiss luxury watch. This was only a year later, my very first Rolex watch, when I really got into high-end watch collecting. So here you have it, my 12 watches in my collection. A lot of stuff has gone. A lot of stuff is up for sale, so I'm not having those included in my collection video here. And just very quickly, 3 watch collection goals for 2025-2026. First off is the Vacheron Constantin Overseas in silver or black. So this is a watch that is priced at around 20 or 21,000 euros. So definitely not a easy choice to buy one of these watches. And if I want to buy an overseas, I have to let at least 2 of these watches go. So that's very, very tough, because I feel I have a really nice collection here. Another one is a Rolex Yachtmaster. So the gray one with the platinum dial. I think it is kind of an under the radar Rolex watch, kind of unpopular. And I really do like the look as an everyday, kind of toned down, but also kind of luxurious Rolex watch. Now, and my third thing is, as I said earlier in the video, maybe just swapping out this one, maybe for a Seamaster 300 or a Diver 300M, but a different one of the Divers 300M. Maybe one of the new Bond ones without the date. That could probably be a choice, because I really want to have a modern Omega Seamaster in my collection as well. But let's see what happens during 2025. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and stay tuned for a lot of more watch content next year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Write a comment down below. What is your favorite in my collection, and what should I get in your opinion? Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I will see you very soon again. Thank you. Bye.